come on, suck it up, start a business, girl. Toxic. Number one, toxic is.
Welcome to Talks with Elona Untold Stories. I am your host, Elona, and today I'll be calling Gloria Atanmo. Gloria is one of the most phenomenal writers that I know. Her words, they pierce through your soul. She is motivational, she is inspirational, and I'm excited to pick her brain about actionable steps that people could take to stay more motivated and to not be discouraged during a time like this. Friendly reminder, all the stories in the series, real stories, real people, but also just their opinions. For the most up-to-date information on the coronavirus, please go on the CDC and WHO websites. So, Gloria, thank you for joining me today. I say this in my introduction, I'm going to say this again to fuel you with energy. You are easily one of my favorite writers in the world. And I say writers meaning I read your captions and I sometimes feel like I'm reading like a mini book, like a mini favorite book. And it's true. It's true. And thank you so much. I know that everyone will find value in everything that you have to say today.
Thank you for having me.
So let's jump into it. So right now we're in this kind of space where it's easy to get into the comfort of your home while being in a discomfort of your mind, right? So what are some ways that people can be motivated and stay motivated during a time like this?
Right. So I think it's important to first acknowledge that like we're all trying to cope in our own ways. So I think I've seen a lot of like virtual shaming, like, oh, if you don't start a business right now, then you're lazy and no. And I think it's important for people to understand first that their emotions are valid. So they need to acknowledge that, okay, I'm scared, I'm anxious, I'm panicking. Like, let me not hide from these emotions. Let me acknowledge that they exist and then work through them. So once you work through that period of panic and worry and anxiety, whatever that timeline looks like, then you move over into the productivity phase where it's like, okay, where do I draw my inspiration from? How can I optimize the hours in my day? So first and foremost, and I say this all the time on social media, do not check social media first thing you do when you wake up. Your phone shouldn't even be in your bedroom. Like, don't even have it anywhere where you sleep, because it's such an easy, like, oh, well, let me see what's going on in the world. Oh my God, I'm not good enough. I can't write like her. I can't take photos like her. Oh, I'm worthless. Oh, I'm just going to waste this day because I just don't feel good anymore. And you've let the world kind of like just drag you down before you've even given yourself a chance to start the day. So make sure that first hour, which is your most precious hour of the day, make sure you use that time to invest in yourself, meditate, journal, read a book, sit outside, sit on your balcony, we're social distancing. I'm on day 29, so I'm being as safe as possible. I'm so like, I don't want to say paranoid, but I haven't even left my apartment complex, not even for a walk or anything. So I definitely get that some people are experiencing cabin fever. But when it comes to productivity, just find the small changes that you can implement in your day, and they're going to kind of like build on each other and then go from there.
I love that. And speaking of that, what if you're still discouraged? Like how do you get over that discouragement phase?
Yeah, so community is everything. You need to find and connect with people who are going through the same emotions that you are so that you can feel validated. It is comforting to know that like if you're still struggling with like, maybe the world is ending and this is if that's your emotion, it's okay. Lean into that, but find someone else who can hold space for you. Because if you reach out to the wrong friend and you say, hey, I'm just worried right now. Oh, get over it. Like, oh, what do you mean? Like, come on, suck it up. Start a business, girl. Toxic. Number one, toxic as hell. But it's just so important to find community that can hold space for you. And yeah, just know that your emotions are valid and we're all coping in the best ways we can. I'm already very introverted. So the way I protect my peace and protect my energy is when I'm not in a good mood or I'm not feeling well, social media is the last place I check. Social media is the last thing that I do. I'm reading, I'm journaling, I'm scripting a video for my Nigerian skit. I'm finding a way to just create and do something that's...
I love it. Like, obviously, I don't know much about that spectrum of life, and you just suck me into it, and I'm like, I kind of feel you. I love it.
And I think everyone has that pocket of creativity within their own, like, life experiences. Like the reason I think it's so funny or so fun for me to make is because it's so personal. I'm not like creating this mystical child. I'm like, this is what I went through in real life. So
Mhm.
I get to like recreate like different moments, and it's fun to kind of let people into that side of my world.
Sure, and it definitely is fun. I could say that for sure. And speaking of content, what kind of content did you enjoy before everything started? Has that changed for you? So like I used to love travel content, and now when I see people repurposing their old travel photos, I find myself just scrolling past it. I'm not as interested anymore. I love the DIY stuff. I love the skits you're putting out. So what about you?
Yeah, I'm really drawn to tutorials because I think it's very easy to see the final product and be like, oh, I could never do that. So like I found myself posting more behind the scenes because when you let people into like the process of the creation, it's not only educational but it's also really inspiring. And so now a lot of my DMs are like, oh my gosh, Chloe, like thank you for showing me this side. It's cool to see that. So I'm drawn to tutorials. I'm drawn to people who are posting like just educational stuff because I love to learn. I might not even be interested in learning how to cook soup. Maybe there's like a special soup, but I'm like, oh wow, look at the way she pours the ingredients. I'm just like, I love seeing people like make the most of like whatever inspires them in this moment.
And for content creators, how can they be the most valuable right now, especially those that are way out of their niche, right? That they can't create what they used to create. What can they do now?
Yeah, I think it's so important for people to understand that you're a human first before you're label, travel blogger, chef, lawyer. We have all these labels and we use those labels as like a comfort thing. Like, this is my identity. I'm going to hold on to this travel blogger label because this is my career. It's all I know. And I did that for so many years and unintentionally put myself in this box where I felt like I couldn't talk about anything outside of travel. Meanwhile, I've always been inspired by, growth mindset, self-development, entrepreneurship, business. Like I've always been in that world. And so it was like a few months ago, I started just kind of like showing people other layers and sides to me. So I think people now like show other people, like show the human side, like show up as you are, talk about other things that excite you, show your other passions because we're multifaceted and multidimensional people. And it's okay to show that. It's not off niche or off brand or anything.
And to piggyback off of that, how has the content strategy changed for you? I know you have a fantastic course. How tell me more about that and the rest of your content strategy. Like, are you blogging? What are you focusing your blog on, your social media, your class?
Yeah, what's so incredibly just humbling and cool is that like nothing has changed for me because I've always had three verticals of content: empowerment, education, and entertainment. So the empowerment, it's when I show up with my very vulnerable stories, talk about past failures. Education, it's when I'm teaching something, the little lessons. Now I started the couch conversations, just trying to like show people how they can learn from what I'm doing. And then the entertainment, the Nigerian skits, which I started in July of last summer, but I was like really inconsistent. So yeah, it's really like I do my content batching on Sunday where I kind of like schedule out my week. Like, okay, what do I want to like? What do I want to post in the education vertical this week? So it's cool that not much has changed in that regard. I would say, if anything, I'm just way more consistent and way more inspired to post because I haven't been this still in a long time. And so when you're living like a chaotic jet setting life, you're worried about currency exchanges. You're worried about finding food, directions to your Airbnb. And I'm like, whoa, I can wake up and know where I am and know what to eat. And I'm just like, there's no stress. I'm like, this is so cool. So I've like released all this like other capacity of thinking into like my work, which is really cool.
No, you're literally probably one of the most innovative people that I follow in the space because you're constantly doing something new and it's always valuable, and that's what I think it's the most important part. Even your skits, like they're not only educational in a way, but they're fun, so you add value to someone's day just by making them laugh,
Yeah.
and I appreciate that a lot.
Thanks.
What do you think is a positive outcome from all of this for you and for the world, and how can people see this from a positive light rather than from a negative light?
Right. So I don't know if you are a big fan of The Office, John Krasinski or something. He
Mhm.
started a network on YouTube called Some Good News. and it's like it's brilliant. And he's highlighting all the good that's happening in the world. And when I was watching it, I was like, there is so much good. So one, I think it's important to like focus on the good news that is out there and understand that like it's hard to see, it's hard to say like, oh, we needed this, because there's also a lot of tragedy that came from this. But like the universe needed this break, like we collectively needed this pause. I personally am able to like reevaluate some of the things that I was like, just it was automated, because I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this because it makes sense. I'm like, wait, but does it, do I really want to do it, or was I doing this because I thought that's what I needed to do? Like I'm able to take a step back and see things clearer and reevaluate some of my goals and some of my, yeah, like it's things were getting crazy. Last year was definitely my most incredible and just insane and crazy and chaotic year. And I learned so much. And I felt like I never really gave myself a break. I was all right, 2020, let's go. Back on the grind. So I feel like I've been able to kind of like slow down and like, oh, actually, I didn't really want to do this. I just was like pressured because of time. So now, you know.
Sure, sure. And before we leave, can you tell me what can people expect out of your class? Why is it important, and why should people sign up now?
Oh, yeah, so I have bloglikeabosscourse.com, which was named one of the top courses on Teachable in 2019, which is super cool. And yeah, classes start on Sunday, and there's obviously no pressure. I'm all for like, it is not a necessity. I'm all for people paying their rents and taking care of like their food, and I will never pressure someone into joining my course. But it is a really cool community of people who just want more for themselves, and it's the thing that I wish I could have invested in when I was on my journey. I probably struggled unnecessarily for 2.5 years because there was no answers. No one wanted to publish or share, you know, what was going on. So I had to literally struggle and fail my way to get where I am. And now I'm like, look, if you can learn this in 2 hours, what took me 2 years, let's do it, you know? So it's a great community of positive people who are trying to build a blog, a business, and a community.
Absolutely good. And I think this is the time to join all of these communities and to take all of these courses, because if you're sitting at home and you're on your screen for hours a day, might as well make use of it, you know?
Very true. Very true.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your time. I love your energy. We can all feel it, you know, like I feel it. Thank you.
Ah!
Stay safe, stay healthy, and I will talk to you soon.
You as well.
Thank
Bye.
you. Mwah.